The hormone leptin, produced by adipose cells, is a powerful hormone, and many cells throughout the body express receptors for leptin, including diverse classes of white blood cells. And thus, as we gain weight, the additional leptin produced by the added adipose cells then causes changes in our immune system. Neutrophils express receptors for leptin, and thus leptin is a chemoattractant which affects their migration. It prolongs their survival, it promotes their migration to tissues, and it promotes the production of the components of their granules. Eosinophils express receptors for leptin, and thus leptin can be a chemoattractant, affecting their migration, attracting them to adipose tissue. It prolongs their survival, inhibiting their apoptosis. It promotes the production of adhesion molecules which affect their migration, and it promotes the production of the cytokine signals that they produce. Basophils express receptors for leptin, and it is a chemoattractant which affects their migration and can cause them to migrate to adipose tissue. It prolongs their survival. Basophils are usually very short-lived. Leptin can promote the degranulation of basophils and the production of some of the cytokines of basophils, such as interleukin 4 and 13 of the Th2 response, and CD63, all of which will promote inflammation and allergy. Leptin promotes the migration of mast cells, it prolongs their survival, and it promotes the rate at which they can promote inflammation. Leptin promotes the increase in number of NK cells and increases their production of cytotoxic components such as perforins, and increases their production of signaling molecules such as interleukin 2. Leptin promotes the proliferation of macrophages. It promotes the rate at which they initiate phagocytosis. It changes the cell membranes that they produce, and it promotes their production of cytokines such as interleukins 1 and 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha. Leptin promotes the migration of dendritic cells. It prolongs their survival. It enhances their ability to present antigens to naive T helper cells and thus promote their differentiation into Th1 cells. It promotes the production of a number of cytokines such as interleukins 8, 12, and 6 and tumor necrosis factor alpha, and also alters their production of cell membrane proteins. Leptin can affect the differentiation of immature T helper cells to produce more Th1 cells and increase their production of the signal interferon gamma. It promotes changes in other types of T cells like Th2, Th17, and Treg cells. It increases the proliferation of T lymphocytes and increases their cytokine production. Thus, the gain of adipose, as observed in this obese cat, can have diverse health effects and can increase disease risks, such as heart disease risk, in part because of the effects that leptin has on immune cells. Leptin, for example, would promote the migration of monocytes, which would increase the rate at which they leave the blood and enter blood vessel walls where they can form plaques. And thus, while anyone could develop heart disease, those with additional adipose reserves are at increased risk, in part because of the effects of leptin on immune cells.